A powerful Turning Point USA donor has just gone on the record, and what they're saying changes everything. According to the whistleblower, Charlie Kirk wasn't just asking for the Epstein client list, he was granted access to it. Insiders within the government, fed up with the cover-ups and sealed files, trusted him to reveal what nobody else dared to touch. Kirk believed he could walk the line, expose the truth, name names, and survive the storm that would follow. He told friends he was just days away from going public. But he never got the chance. What happened next wasn't random. According to a donor, Kirk was caught in the crosshairs of a blackmail network that's been running for decades. The same shadow system built on compromise, coercion, and silence. They knew he was too close. That one wrong move could bring the entire operation crashing down. And the most shocking part? When the knives came out, they weren't from his enemies. They were from the people closest to him. Today's video is brought to you by VP.net, the only VPN I trust to protect my privacy from the deep state. VP.net is built to 100% block deep state actors from spying on you. Their military-grade hardware is impenetrable. Signing up to them also really helps to keep my show on the air. Please visit vp.net/TPV to find out more. Earlier this week, the TPV USA donor told us that Charlie Kirk was betrayed by people inside his own circle. Now, new footage appears to prove it, for everyone to see. The video shows Charlie's friend and chief of staff, Mike McCoy, at the exact moment of the incident. Instead of reacting in shock or rushing to help, McCoy simply turns and walks away. No panic, no urgency, no attempt to film, even though he'd been recording all morning. He doesn't flinch, doesn't duck, doesn't look back. No security escorts him, no urgency. He simply strolls off as chaos erupts behind him. While others scramble to carry Charlie to the SUV and race him to hospital, Mikey can be seen in the distance, calmly walking away, as if nothing happened. Was Charlie alive, dying, in need of help? None of that seemed to matter to the one man who should have cared most. For most people, the footage is stunning. But for those who've been following our reports, it confirms exactly what we've been warning about all along.
Wow, look at that.
Beautiful.
Look at that.
According to whistleblowers deep inside Turning Point USA, Charlie Kirk was quietly granted access to the Epstein client list, the real one, unredacted and untouched. The files came from government insiders who trusted Kirk to expose the truth responsibly, believing he was one of the few public figures with the reach and courage to do it. This wasn't for clicks or clout, it was real, and it was dangerous. He'd already begun breaking away from the pro-Israel narrative he'd once pushed, knowing that move alone could get him killed. But what truly sealed his fate was what he found next. Israel's hidden role in global trafficking, the participation of Israeli political leadership, and the unthinkable connection to his own wife.
Now you might be wondering who some of the shadowy figures leaving Epstein's house masked up are. Well, that's none other than former Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak. What was he doing there?
We have recent email leaks from Ehud Barak that is his entire email inbox from almost a year's worth of time, and they communicated almost every day, often multiple times a day, direct contact about basically everything that they were doing. He also visited him frequently, and there's a whole year of time where Ehud Barak's known visits to Epstein were monthly on a schedule. Most people were visiting Epstein in what seemed like a leisure sense, but Ehud Barak was visiting him on a regular schedule. And he was also sneaking in and out of Epstein's mansion in disguise. Jeffrey Epstein referred not just Ehud Barak, but also Benjamin Netanyahu to JP Morgan. That's the current Prime Minister of Israel.
When you understand the nature of these people, the blackmailers, the power brokers, the ones who trade in secrets and silence, you'll understand why Charlie knew he had no choice but to go public. Virginia Giuffre's posthumous memoir, released this week, sheds new light on exactly what he was up against. In it, she details her encounters with former Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak and what he was like behind closed doors.
Epstein victim Virginia Giuffre's new book has just dropped, and it is atrocious. The details. Virginia Giuffre passed away in April of a suicide. Supposed suicide, maybe an actual suicide. It's unclear. She had insisted before her death that this book came out no matter what happens to her. She wanted this book published. It is now published. She talks about the sadistic prime minister. Giuffre describes an unnamed prime minister who raped her, choked her unconscious, laughing as she bled. This is Ehud Barak, the former prime minister of Israel. And at the time, he was the prime minister when he was doing this. That is the allegation. Barak was a close Epstein associate. He visited Epstein's island and New York properties multiple times, flew on the Lolita Express, received millions from Epstein for a security firm.
Such is the iron grip these blackmailers and sadists hold, not just over individuals, but over entire institutions. Charlie understood his mission clearly: to break the stranglehold that Israel's network of influence and compromise has maintained over Congress and the American system for decades. Everyone has known the unspoken rule for decades: dissent is punishable by death.
The president also knows what Israel wants, Israel gets. To act otherwise is political suicide. The mass media, founded and controlled primarily by Jews, manipulates the spigot of information out of which heartland America drinks. The message of this contaminated source is, if you criticize Israel, you are anti-Semitic. Be safe, keep your head down, or you are fair game for being knocked off by the Zionist shooting gallery.
A long-time TPUSA donor and close friend of Charlie Kirk has gone on record, claiming that the Zionist shooting gallery made their message unmistakably clear in the weeks before Charlie's death. When Kirk refused to promise that the Epstein client list and the powerful figures tied to it would stay buried, the pressure campaign turned deadly. But Charlie's secrets aren't going to die with him. When you hear what the donor has to say about that, and why high-profile names like Bill Gates have disappeared from view, you'll understand why nothing will ever be the same again. If you or anybody you know owns a home in America, you urgently need to listen to this. There's an epidemic of online scammers stealing home titles, and your equity is the target. Here's how it works. Criminals forge your signature on one simple document, use a fake notary stamp, and just like that, your home title has been transferred out of your name without you ever knowing. It's terrifyingly simple. And then they take out loans using your equity and sometimes even sell your property. But here's the scary bit. You won't even know it's happened until you get a collection or foreclosure notice. When was the last time you checked on your home title? If the answer is never, you need to do something about it right now. That's why I've partnered with Home Title Lock, so that you can find out today if you're already a victim. Use my promo code TPV at HomeTitleLock.com and you'll receive a free title history report and a free trial of their $1 million triple lock protection. That's 24/7 monitoring of your title, urgent alerts to any changes, and if fraud does happen, they'll spend up to $1 million to fix it. I've already passed this information on to family and friends who own homes in the US, and it's been a lifesaver for many of them. So please visit HomeTitleLock.com today and use promo code TPV. That's HomeTitleLock.com, promo code TPV. According to whistleblowers deep inside Turning Point USA, there are more than 3 people who know the full truth, and they're holding the evidence Charlie uncovered. Encrypted copies, files, communications, all of it. And that's why several high-profile figures have suddenly gone silent.
Who are the billionaires? She lists billionaire 1, billionaire 2, and billionaire 3. Billionaire 1 is likely Glenn Dubin, the hedge fund billionaire and co-founder of Highbridge Capital. Giuffre alleged in 2016 that she was trafficked to him for sex. He and his wife Eva were close Epstein friends. Billionaire 2 is likely Thomas Pritzker. She claimed in court filings that she was directed to have sex with him. And billionaire 3 is likely Leon Black. This is the private equity billionaire and Apollo Global Management co-founder, soon to be governor of a Western state. I think that is probably Bill Richardson, New Mexico Governor Bill Richardson. Giuffre accused him in a 2016 deposition of having sex with her while underage. He was a former U.S. Energy Secretary, UN Ambassador, and frequent Epstein guest. He was often on the flight logs for the Lolita Express. The former U.S. Senator is likely George Mitchell of Maine, who served between 1980 and 1995. Giuffre alleged in 2016 testimony that she was directed to have sex with him. He was a frequent Epstein associate and later a Middle East peace envoy under Obama. She endured many horrors. It was absolutely terrible. Her book is atrocious. I mean, this young girl, here she is at 13 years old. This is when they snatched her up, basically, from Trump's Mar-a-Lago and used her and abused her. And everybody knew it. Everybody knew it. She was so young. This is why we want the Epstein files. We want to know who was involved because they should be held accountable. But we also want to know who was involved because we want to know who's been compromised.
Bill Gates, among others, has vanished from the spotlight, cancelling appearances and avoiding the press. The message is clear. The storm Charlie started didn't die with him. It's only beginning to break.
It says, no relationship, nada, nothing. You report these 2 men met at least 6 times. What does Gates say about that?
Well, I believe that there were more, and he and his spokespeople would not say how many in total they actually met. But this included visits to the mansion, seeing each other in Seattle, flying on Epstein's plane, when we all know Bill Gates has his own $40 million plane. And then, as an investigative reporter, why would Gates say, oh, I had no relationship with him, when, of course, he knows what the facts are? So that always sets off red flags for me.
He also has one of the largest, most established foundations on his own.
Yes.
Why would they ever set up a charitable trust benefiting Jeffrey Epstein?
Well,
what's the explanation?
Not only does he have the world's largest charitable foundation, but one of their primary missions is to help young women in underprivileged countries.
Now, we're going to hear from a Turning Point USA donor who says that Charlie was shattered by evidence that many of the world's richest and most powerful people were compromised pedophiles. The scope of the Epstein files left him reeling in disbelief, yet more determined than ever to expose the truth, no matter the cost.
When he first got those files, he knew it was going to be bad, but not this bad. He figured maybe a few dirty names and a handful of scandals. But what he found, it wasn't chaos, it was structure, a system, planned, organized, and ruthlessly efficient. Charlie called me one night, middle of the week. I'll never forget it. Said, this isn't blackmail, it's infrastructure. Every name, every transfer, every image, nothing random. It was a web built to control people, to keep the powerful obedient. At first, he was just shocked. Then it started eating at him. He got quieter, jumpier. He told me, we've been colonized, but nobody understands. They've built their whole empire on silence. I don't think anyone else knows how he actually got the files. The truth is, they were handed to him. A senior insider, someone who'd spent decades inside the system, seen too many cover-ups, chose him. Said he was the one guy who might survive going public, loud enough to get attention, credible enough that the media couldn't spin it out of existence. The insider told him, if you expose this, they'll come for you, and for anyone who helps you. Then he walked away. Charlie didn't sleep for 3 nights after that, locked himself in, started digging. When he finally called me, his voice was shaking. He said, they were at dinners. They were at fundraisers, people I respected, in pictures doing things you can't unsee. Then came the gut punch. Some of the names were donors to his own movement. Big ones, people he'd eaten with, laughed with, trusted. He told me, I thought they believed in the cause. Turns out they were buying my silence. And then, the worst part. He found emails, approvals, and signatures tying his wife's charity work to the same network. He didn't yell, didn't accuse, just went quiet. Said, if she's part of this, then everything's been a lie. That's when it changed for him. It wasn't about politics anymore. It was personal. He told me, if I stay quiet, I'm one of them. If I speak, I'm dead. But people deserve to know. He truly believed he could pull it off, that his name, his reputation would protect him. But it didn't. 2 days later, he was gone. But here's the thing. The secrets didn't die with him. He made sure of that. The files are out there in safe hands. And one way or another, people are going to start learning about what he knew.
Every day, more whistleblowers from inside Charlie's inner circle are coming forward, terrified, hiding, and speaking through encrypted channels. They're backing up what we already know, and revealing even more about the kind of information people are being killed for. From Erica Kirk's close ties to a man credibly accused in the Romanian press of child sex trafficking, to her mother's quiet seat on the board of a company funneling TPUSA user data to Israel, the pattern is becoming impossible to ignore. A new threat has emerged. The elite are no longer content with influencing elections or shaping narratives. They're waging war on humanity itself, through the weaponization of information and data. Israel is not only blackmailing Congress, controlling the feds, and paying US influencers to astroturf, they've seized global control of VPNs, the very tools people trust to hide their most private activities. And the chilling part? Most people don't realize the danger they're in.
With the click of a button, you can bring down nations to their knees very rapidly, if you so desire, and if you're willing to take the risks. Because every system can be hacked. Our airplanes, our hospitals, our cars, our banks. Actually, the most important word here is our data banks. They can be hacked.
When Netanyahu talks about data banks, he wasn't talking about spreadsheets or savings accounts. He was talking about VPNs, the reservoir of the world's secrets. The vault, where people have been led to believe they're safe. Unfortunately, the vault has been cracked open. Most of the most popular VPNs in the world, ExpressVPN, CyberGhost, and private internet access, have been bought out by an Israeli company, Cape Technologies. Cape's roots trace back to Crossrider, a malware distributor notorious for hijacking people's devices, and its staff, packed with Israeli former intelligence agents, the very people who built Israel's most powerful surveillance tools. We're talking about veterans of Unit 8200, Israel's NSA on steroids. They created Pegasus and Celebrite, spyware to spy on dissidents around the world. We're also talking about the Dovdadin Unit, Israel's undercover death squad. Commandos trained to infiltrate, disguise themselves, and carry out assassinations. These aren't just names, they're written into the resumes of Cape CEOs, developers, and financiers. The founder, Teddy Sagi, is one of Israel's richest men, a convicted fraudster who brags about placing ex-agents into his companies. These are the very people you're paying to protect your privacy. It's not just a sick joke, it's a punchline, and you're the one they're laughing at. If you're paying for a legacy VPN, cancel your subscription right now. Because in 2025, you can't afford to rely on trust. A breakthrough has arrived, one that changes everything. Just like blockchain replaced middlemen in finance, cryptographic networking is about to wipe out the old VPN industry completely. VP.net was created in 2025, built from the ground up, to be verifiable, transparent, and unstoppable. Unlike legacy VPNs, every connection is protected by a mathematically verifiable cryptographic shield. So no third party, not even VP.net itself, can see or log your data. It's faster, it's mathematically unhackable, and it's built for the new era, where privacy isn't just a luxury, it's survival. Protect yourself today. Join the movement at vp.net/TPV. It's just $5 a month to shut Big Brother's eyes for good. And here's the best part. Your membership doesn't just protect you, it helps fund the world's first open source, independently audited privacy network, powered by the people, not corporations. Join the movement at vp.net/TPV. Don't trust, verify.